Hello everyone, my name is Akshay and welcome back to a brand new FPL video. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys some transfer tips, especially on 4 teams who have some good fixtures coming up. So make sure to watch the whole video because it's going to be packed with good transfers and some very good differentials. So just quickly before we get started, if you do enjoy the video, please do leave it a like and also subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel out. And also comment down below if you're struggling with any transfer dilemmas or you need any help with your teams and I'll reply to all your comments. But kicking this video off, we're going to be starting with the Man City assets. So I'm going to be basically presenting 4 players on screen to you right now, especially for this week, but also good options for the game weeks upcoming. So starting off with the City defense, I think Nathan Ake is probably the best City defender because Pep seems to trust him the most when Man City have Champions League and Premier League games in very quick succession back to back. He seems to play near enough 90 minutes. So a very reliable and safe option if you want passage into the City defense. Man City go to bottom of the league, Southampton this week, so they should have a field day by keeping a clean sheet. And then they go to a struggling Leicester side after that in game week 31, but I must point out that they do blank in game week 32. So just like me, I'm going to be planning to free hit on game week 32, so all these players that are blanking in game week 32 is pretty irrelevant to me, and the same for you guys if you have a free hit available too. Then moving on to the midfield area of Man City, I personally think Kevin De Bruyne is a really good option now. It's the business end of the season, and you know how good De Bruyne is. He near enough always performs when it matters, and he just had a brilliant game against Liverpool too, getting a goal and an assist. And actually over the last few game weeks, his ownership has dropped quite a lot. His ownership overall is only 24%, which I think is pretty low for somebody like him who's outstanding in every single FPL season, and he hasn't been that bad this season. He's just not hit the heights that he normally does, so people are overlooking him. But of course, if you don't have the funds for De Bruyne, I would say Grealish because Foden's still out injured. Grealish is a great shout. He's performing really well at the moment too. You could put Mahrez in, but you never know what's going to happen because I've been burnt so many times this season. I put Mahrez in about 2-3 times and then he hasn't played and then he has played. So it's a bit annoying. You can't always trust the right side of City. You can't even trust the left side, I'll be honest, but at least with Foden out, Grealish is a little bit more nailed on. And then now moving on to the forward options. I did say at the start that these 4 are the best City assets in my opinion for the upcoming game week. However, ignore that partially because Alvarez isn't the best, of course, City asset. But as I've just been recording this video, literally 1 minute ago, I got a notification saying that Haaland's back in training. So I clicked the video and he's running around and he seems perfectly fine. So my argument here was going to be, if Haaland doesn't play, then Alvarez would be the perfect solution if you wanted passage into the City attack just for the short term, because every single time he's come in for Haaland, I think bar from 1 week, he's done really well. He's got a return. And he played so good against Liverpool. Let's not forget about that. So you never know. Like I said, Mahrez isn't always safe. Pep might put Alvarez on the right. You just never know. But now Haaland's back in training. So if you don't have him, like a lot of us transferred him out, I'm personally most likely going to be transferring back in just because I've seen that video on Twitter that's just come out. So yeah, it's just far too scary not to have Haaland, especially as they have Southampton and Leicester coming up. But we do have to consider the little point that they have a huge Champions League tie against Bayern Munich a few days later. So will Pep want to risk him? At least, I don't think he'll play 90 minutes, but will he want to risk him at all? Is it just mind games? It's just pot luck really with him, but I'm personally most likely going to be taking the punt to put him back in. Now moving on to the Man United assets, which have been a very hot topic recently. So we'll start in goal. There's a lot of good goalkeepers that you can pick in FPL at the moment. But David De Gea is one of the highest predicted points goalies over the next 5 games and also for this game week. So he's predicted 4 points this game week and then 18.1 over the next 5 games. But you have to look at Man United's next 2 fixtures. In game week 30, they play Everton at home and then game week 31, Nottingham Forest. So on paper, 2 very comfortable fixtures, which you would expect them to get clean sheets. So David De Gea could be a good option if you are looking for a goalkeeper. That probably should be getting clean sheets in his next 2 games. And then let's talk about Luke Shaw now. So he's going to be in a lot of people's teams and a lot of people actually did transfer him in last week for the double game week. Of course, it didn't go too well for Man United against Newcastle. They lost 2-0, but I'm uploading this video today, you're going to see it today, where Man United do have their second double game week fixture against Brentford. So let's see what happens in that. But Luke Shaw always is a good option to have. Then next on the list is Bruno Fernandes, also another amazing option now to have. Look how high his next 5 expected points are, 30.5, which is 3rd highest out of all the midfielders in the next 5 games. And then of course moving on to Marcus Rashford, who by far is the best Man United asset to have, and I'm pretty sure all of us have him in our team. But if you don't for some reason, then I don't know what you're doing. This week week he has an expected goals of 0.83, which is super high. And then, like I said before, is ranked second highest out of all the midfielders for expected points in the next 5 games, just behind Salah. And now moving on to the Aston Villa asset. So you're going to start to see some more differentials potentially for your team now. And Aston Villa have been absolutely incredible since Emre's come in. In their last 6 games, they've won 5 and drawn 1, and they've kept 3 clean sheets in that period too. And Martinez has been really good because he's also making a lot of saves. So of course he's getting save points, and then that helps him for bonus points too. So he's been doing really well at the moment. So definitely a goalkeeper to consider. And then the same with all of Aston Villa's defense, to be honest. So Tyrone Mings and Alex Moreno, both at 4.4 mil, which is a really good price point to have, super cheap. And Alex Moreno over Mings obviously has a higher assist threat, and then Mings has a higher goal threat, but Moreno's been getting himself in some decent attacking positions recently, and then of course Mings is always a threat from corners and stuff, and he's actually seemed, I never really rated Mings, but he's actually seemed to be doing really well since Emre, just like all of the Villa players. But a thing to note about Mings is no defender has kept more bonus points than him at all in the last 5 games in the whole league. So yeah, definitely a decent player to have in your team and at a very good price. And then finally, Ollie Watkins, arguably the most informed striker in the league at the moment. A good price point. He keeps scoring non-stop, and it just proves how well he's doing at the moment, because his expected goals for this game week is 0.84, which pretty much is near enough guaranteed that he's going to score according to predicted points. And also his predicted points for the next 5 games is good as well. Aston Villa do have some difficult fixtures coming up. Of course, Nottingham Forest, you'd expect them to win and even potentially keep a clean sheet in that. Then Newcastle's difficult, Brentford's difficult, and Man United's difficult in game week 34. But overall, Aston Villa are playing amazing. All the assets on screen right now are really good options to have. So if you are going with any Villa assets, let me know in the comments which one you're going for and why you're going for them. So now moving on to the final team that I'm going to be talking about in this video, and that is Leicester. Leicester have some amazing fixtures coming up. Of course, as we know, Brendan Rodgers just got sacked, and they've played their first game since the sacking and lost 2-1 against Aston Villa. So it didn't go too well, but their fixtures coming up, like I said, are great. Of course, ignore Man City because that's the hardest fixture you can have. But away from that, Game Week 30, Game Week 32, 33 and 34 are probably the best fixtures that they could have hoped for. They're playing teams all on the lower end of the table, so you should expect them to start picking up points and start picking up some momentum now. So let's start off with their assets. In goal, it was interesting to see that Iverson kept his place in the team, because obviously Rodgers played him in the last 2 games, and then when he got sacked, they just played against Aston Villa, and he kept himself in the team. So he's only at 3.8 mil. So if he is going to continue to play, that price point for a goalkeeper, especially most of you will have him as a backup goalkeeper if he was in your team, is an amazing price point. And with the fixtures coming up, you would hope that they could keep at least 1 clean sheet in that. So if you need a very budget keeper who's probably going to be playing, then Iverson is definitely your man. Castagne's also at a decent price point, but when you compare him with the Aston Villa defenders, I would personally pick the Aston Villa defenders over Castagna. But 4.4 mil, just like Mings and Alex Moreno, is a good price point. And then talking about the 2 midfield men, so Barnes and Maddison. Barnes actually scored in the double game week last game against Aston Villa, and has actually been playing decent, although Leicester have been playing overall really bad. And then James Maddison, who did go off at the end of the last game, suspectedly being injured, but we don't know for sure, because some people are saying that he's injured, and then some people are saying that he was just time wasting because it was at the end of the game and they were drawing 1-1, I think, at the point that he got taken off. So he's a little bit more risky. He's in my team, and I don't really know what I'm going to do with him at the moment, because if he's fit, of course you would want to keep him in with the run of fixtures that Leicester have coming up. But he's been extremely frustrating recently. In a double game week where he was predicted to do so well, he blanked both times. So it was extremely frustrating for Maddison owners like myself. So you could go with either or, Barnes or Maddison. Barnes is probably the safer option at the moment because we don't know whether Maddison's injured or not. So yeah, that's a wrap for this video. Please do leave a like if you enjoyed it, and also subscribe for more weekly FPL videos. Also leave a comment down below if you're struggling with anything with your FPL team or need to ask me any questions. I'll reply to all the comments. But other than that, I will see you for my next video, which is going to be my team selection video for Game Week 30.